The swamp was muggy. It was no wonder. The sky above looked as if it was about to start a downpour. Well, it almost was the monsoon season. Best get the hunting done before the storm starts. The adventurers didn't want to have to swim home. Well, they did bring a boat to carry their supplies, but that would be in the way here. The two of them moved through the tall reeds, one a ranger and the other a druid. Both showed the marks of every test that they had survived. Their armor and weapons were as good as a brother, and twice as loyal to them. The ranger's bow was strong and ready. At a moment's notice, he could notch and fire. A pair of swords hung on his hips. While he preferred long range, he knew how important close range was, particularly for this job. The druid walked beside him, using his staff for support. The wood was solid and took the druid's weight, even if it was crooked and twisted. His robes were loose and made from the hide of a bar guest, a dangerous speech which nearly took him down years ago. Luckily, he got the upper hand. Bah! The druid spat as his foot sank into the black mud. A pungent stench bubbled up and stung his nose. Careful, the ranger chided him. I don't know how you walk in this stuff and not sink. It's one of my skills. I could teach you, the ranger offered. I've got better tricks. You've seen them. They laughed as the druid yanked his foot out of the mud, only to leave his boot lost in the brackish water below. A squeal and a roar broke through the swamp. Sounds like our prey is ahead. With a nod, the two of them pushed forward. Moved as quietly as possible, creeping through the tall grass. They saw a massive boar sprawled in the mud. The water exploded as a long serpentine neck lunged at the adventurers. The pair dodged the strike by only an inch. The head was as large as either of them, its mouth open, flaunting the large fangs inside. Water rolled off the body behind it as it rose up. Its legs were as thick as a human. A long tail splashed about in the water. As the beast retracted its long neck for another strike, the ranger fired his bow. The arrow struck it in the eye, but did nothing to halt the foe's next strike. Pulling his power, the druid sent branches up from the ground which entangled the neck. The beast struggled for a moment, only a moment, before breaking free and lunging for the ranger once more. It slammed into him, his bow snapping like a twig. In a fluid movement, he flourished his twin blades as the druid recast his branches to encase the beast's neck. Springing up, the ranger brought his swords down on the slender neck before it fell to the ground. It let out a huff of success. Before either of them could act, the body continued to thrash about. With a sickening splat, 3 new heads exploded forth from the body. Hydras are always fun, they chuckled, even as they avoided the next fury of attacks. Today we face the Hydra aspiring adventurers. These are beasts worthy of their legendary status. They are renowned for their unkillable nature. Whenever you cut off their head, at least 2 more take its place. So let's see if we can find out how to slay this Hydra. The Hydra is a large reptilian creature. They are known for their long necks. What the neck does is their most fascinating feature. Cut off, only for a new one to spring forth instantly. Okay, this is a neat ability. Many lizards have the ability to grow their tails if they break off. Normally the tail is sacrificed in order to save the rest of the lizard from a predator. Would you rather lose an arm or your life? Yeah, I bet most of you would choose the arm. But for the lizard, it's less of a cost. It's more like losing your hair or your shirt. So, why does the Hydra do this with their heads? They are predators. For predators, biting is very dangerous. Tell me, have you ever watched a boxing match? Where do the fighters aim? The head. Rattle the brain and they'll black out. Or you can slice open the throat and bleed it out. Do you remember how much blood goes to the brain when we were talking about the centaurs? I can tell you it's dangerous to lose that much of it. So how do we fix this problem? Well, we don't let the head be a vital spot. When we fix this, how? Well, the biggest blood and energy demands in the head, and by far the biggest weakness, is the brain. So let's move the brain out of the head. Instead, let's put it in the chest, behind the ribs, just before the heart and lungs. This will protect it while also reducing the energy cost to pump blood to it. So what is this new head we have? Have you ever seen a goblin shark or a sturgeonfish? They have a unique mouth that protrudes out to catch prey. Is that what we have here? No, it is similar, but not quite what we have. Those are just mouths. The Hydra's head has a neck with vertebrae. It also has eyes and nervous systems. This will actually lengthen the reaction time for the Hydra. The long neck will separate the brain and the eyes, giving you more time to react. More so as it gains heads, it will also make it more difficult for it to handle all that information. Additionally, the increased heads will offer more air to flow into the lungs. Possibly it could use a respiratory system similar to what the griffin we spoke of before had. I wonder if I had a reason why I did those first. Nah, I'm not that smart. So how does this regenerative system work? Well, I could say that it is magic and be done with it, but surely by now you know that isn't my way. Let's take a deeper dive into getting hurt. A common occurrence I'm betting you've had, adventurer. When you are injured, there is a protein cascade that flows. First, coagulatory factors is released. This will cause platelets to attach to the blood vessels and seal the breach. The area will become warm as more blood flows into it. Once blood loss is stopped, the remodeling begins. New connective tissue is laid out. There is no order or reason to it, but it will be reshaped as the tissue begins to move later on. Eventually, it will return to normal. Well, this is actually a very heavily simplified overview, and we don't have an hour to cover every detail. It's enough to go over for what we need to know for our Hydra, though. When the Hydra's head is cut off, it skips the phase where it stops the blood loss with the platelets. Instead, it goes right to laying down the connective tissue and remodeling. It does this by engaging the developmental and embryonic gene sequences. To trigger the growth of a head in an embryo, use what we call segmentation genes. Okay, this is going to be a little dry, but I'll try to make it fast and easy. First, think of the embryo like a coordinate grid system. Gravity and flagella in cells will create a gradient of proteins and enhancer proteins in the body. This will make a top and a left and right. Now we have the basis for our coordinate system. At this stage of development, the body is just a hollow sphere, and the digestive tract is actually the first thing to develop. It goes from the rectum to the mouth. This will actually help with the Hydra's regeneration. With the mouth forming second, we can then trigger the protein cascade once more, after the injury. After the digestive tract is formed in the embryo, muscles will spread from the digestive tract. When our Hydra is injured, its body will stimulate these genes and proteins to activate. Thanks to their overly developed healing factor, it appears to heal instantly. So why does it get multiple heads instead of one? Let's take a closer look at any injury under a microscope. Is it smooth? Nope, it is jagged, and the cuts are uneven, and this is what will cause the extra heads to sprout forth. Now, healing requires a lot of nutrients and energy, both of which are stored in the fat and bones. The Hydra will break these down to quickly regrow its heads after the injury. This does put a limit on how often it can regenerate. Also, maintaining a bunch of heads will also increase the energy requirements. That's why after the fight, the Hydra will actually reabsorb the extra heads. According to the adventures of Heracles, or the Roman name Hercules, during his 12 labors, he faced a Hydra that had a symbiotic relationship with crabs. These smaller animals actually helped to clean off parasites from it. He also noted one more thing, though. The Hydra he faced was venomous. Different species will have different methods of attacking. Do you remember the serpent video we went over before? Some of them would spit and others would bite. Here, don't let it bite you. If it spits, keep a shield up. Look back on that video for more details of how to handle something like this. Are you still awake? Okay now, so how do we kill such a beast? Well, Heracles did share his strategy. When the Hydra was trying to regrow a head, his companion would put it to the flame. This will limit the blood flow and cauterize the wound. This won't stop it from healing, but it will slow it down enough for you to get advantage. It may not be much, but it still helps. Now, if you fight the Hydra, you want to attack at range. Avoid the head chopping trick, unless that is your plan. I'll get to that later. It will keep its body out of the fight and throw its heads around recklessly. You'll need to get past them and go for the body. An arrow through the heart or your favorite spear will do the trick. Shorter swords will not be able to go quite as deep, and may not be able to reach the heart, but they may be able to get the brain, depending where you strike. But what of magic? It is a reptile, and it is weak to chilling effects. Okay, if it gets cold enough, the Hydra will fall still, and maybe even go to sleep. How many cold spells can you pull out? Okay, what if you're the little bit cooler variety? I've met a witch whose curses could turn a healing spell into a damaging curse. If you got a friend that knows this trick, it's a blessing from the gods. It will completely nullify the healing factor and utterly destroy the Hydra. Okay, but what else can we do? Well, the body still has other organs to attack. You can use blunt force, set a trap, or drop a boulder on a Hydra. Breaking the bones is all well and good, but stopping the heart and lungs from moving is even better. Pull that off, the Hydra will also die. Now, I mentioned that the Hydra will use its fat reserves to heal. That will put a limit on how many heads it can sprout. If you do keep cutting the head off, it will eventually be unable to heal, and losing a head will cause it to bleed out. Remember, it doesn't use platelets to clot wounds. The Hydra can't win an endurance fight. If you can avoid its attacks, you can win a longer battle. And remember that poison? That's why you should have a shield or some antidotes for it. Make sure you avoid those bites. Now, how did Heracles handle those symbiotic crabs? Well, he did have a partner that helped him. But you can usually deal with a sweeping strike just to scatter them. You don't actually need to kill them. Now, how hard is the Hydra? If you know what you're doing, they aren't that bad. They are difficult and dangerous still. That's why I'm going to have to give them a 7 out of 10. Alright, you've done it. You've slain the Hydra. So what do you get? Hydra's skin or meat are valuable. But what if you don't actually kill the Hydra? If you cut off the Hydra's head, you can always get more. And each head has skin and meat. Yep, you can actually farm Hydras for their heads. Just don't take too many, or the Hydra may die. If you are careful, you can take a couple of heads and then leave, and come back for more in a few months. Be careful, not just for you, but also for the beast. If it isn't a threat to the community, I would leave it alive. You can always take the poison like Heracles did, but he did accidentally kill his companion with it, so be careful. The two men exchanged a look and nodded. Throwing the severed head over his shoulder, the ranger bolted. The druid stopped for a minute to turn himself into a bird and fly ahead. Roaring, the Hydra gave chase. Sure of his footing, the ranger never missed a step, or slowed in the thick mud. It didn't even bother him. But neither did it affect the Hydra. A pair of trees marked his goal. They were new and green. Smiling, the ranger dashed between them with the Hydra right on his tail. And as soon as the Hydra reached the trees, the druid and another companion jumped down from their hidden perch. Between them was a massive blade. Just like a guillotine, their blade chopped the Hydra's head off in one fell swoop. The body recoiled in surprise. While new heads sprang forth, the ranger and his companions snatched up the heads before rushing away. They threw the heads in the boat and took off. That went smoothly, the druid smiled. It should be fine. It will, the ranger nodded. These heads will be fine eating. What do you think, aspiring adventurers? Does the Hydra sound like a foe for you, or is it a little too difficult? There is no harm in backing down from a dangerous foe. Better to stay alive than in its stomach. Thank you for watching. Please return next time where we will endeavor to understand the zombies.